What's up, guys? Sean Ogle. Welcome to another Location Rebel case study. And this is a really cool one that I'm excited about because we're touching on a subject that I've been talking about a lot, and how Location Rebel Academy specifically is a great vehicle to launch you into what I call a bridge business. So it's not necessarily the thing you're going to do forever. I know a lot of people aren't super into freelance writing and stuff like that. But this is kind of, opens up the door to say, okay, now I've got options. Now I'm making a little bit of money for myself. Now I'm seeing the opportunities that are potentially out there. What do I want to do next? What's the thing I want to be doing for the foreseeable future? And to help me tell this story is Location Rebel member Matt Finsilver out of Chicago. And before I go any further, Matt, what's up, man? Thank you for taking the time to chat with us today.
Not much, yeah. So glad I have the opportunity to be on. Thanks for having me.
It's amazing. I just started getting more active with my Instagram account for Location Rebel. So at Location Rebel, go follow us. But it's been cool to see all the messages from members that have been like, hey, this was something that was really valuable for me. And he was one of the people that reached out. So we had a chance to talk about it. So rather than let me ramble on and tell your story, maybe just tell me a little bit. You joined the community about 3 years ago. Where were you at when you first got started? What was your mindset like, and kind of how did you find Location Rebel?
Sure. Yeah, so when I first got started, I was fresh out of college. Like you, I went to, I think you went to a bigger university, but I went to a big state school in Michigan, studied business, specifically accounting. And kind of as I got out of college, I was kind of looking for, what's next. I knew I'd always wanted to do something more entrepreneurial, but I wasn't really sure what that thing would be.
Yep. So
really, I was just kind of poking around, looking for a way to make money online. I wasn't really sure exactly how I was going to do it or anything like that. I wasn't looking to make a ton of money right out of the gate. I just kind of wanted to get started.
Yeah.
So I think I just found you just through some Google searches. You're obviously very good at SEO.
Totally.
So yeah, I was just looking to get started any way that I could.
That's awesome. Because now, I guess basically to introduce what you're doing now, right now you're not doing anything even really remotely close to what you were doing maybe 2 years ago when you started with Location Rebel. So you're managing a 8-figure Amazon FBA business, which is mind-boggling. But we're going to be specifically vague about the industry you're in and all that kind of stuff, because it's a super competitive business. So for those of you wondering what it is, you're not going to find out. But tell people, just so they have an idea of what it is. What is Amazon FBA, and what does that look like?
Sure. So Amazon FBA it's called Fulfillment by Amazon. Basically, the business model is you pick what you want to sell and you send it to Amazon, and they do all the fulfillment. So like most of the stuff that you see on Amazon that is Prime, a lot of that is FBA.
Got it.
Obviously, Amazon is one of the best logistics companies in the world. So they're able to get things to you in 1 or 2 days, or here in Chicago you can get stuff in 2 hours. So basically, what we do is we pick the products we want to sell, we source them, and we send them into Amazon, and we do all the marketing to make sure they actually get sold.
Very cool. Okay, so now that we've established that, let's back up. So you're doing that now. When you first joined Location Rebel, what was the first thing you jumped into? How did you get started with the program, and what doors did that maybe open up to the future that you're at now?
Yeah, definitely. So like I said, I was just kind of looking to get started making money online. I wasn't really sure exactly what it would look like. So I got into Location Rebel, and I kind of looked at the different courses, and I said, what would be the easiest for me to get started on, like today?
Yep.
And I always kind of thought I was a decent writer. I never had written, novels or anything like that, but obviously school papers and that kind of thing I always had to write. So I kind of thought I already had the basic skill set. So when I saw the freelance writing stuff, I really thought that was something I could dive right into and get started very quickly.
Totally.
Which I did. I went through the course, and then I really, really leveraged your community. People were really great to me there, kind of getting me my first dollars, which was huge. I can't really remember the first thing that I wrote, but I remember I think it was like $4 or $5 for a 500 word article.
Yeah.
It took me like an hour to do, because I probably rewrote it like 4 or 5 times, had no idea what I was doing. And then, fast forward a few months later, I started getting better and better, and was able to actually write pretty quickly. All the stuff I was writing didn't really require a ton of research, which was good for me at the time, because I just wanted to get.
Yeah, I think you were saying that you're writing about like limousines and limousine services or something like that was one of the random things that you were writing about.
Yeah, exactly. So I wrote about limousine services and brick paving, So I actually ended up working with someone else in your community, and I had like that regular batch of articles every month for 6 or 8 months, I want to say. And it was always the same stuff. So I kind of had to recycle the same ideas, which actually got challenging. But towards the end, I was able to do it pretty quickly,
Yeah.
which for me was great, because I was really just trying to make a few dollars.
Totally. And that's what's funny is like, I don't ever tell anyone that freelance writing is a sexy thing. I actively say this is the boring way to build a business. And especially when you're starting out with those kind of SEO writing posts, you're not making a ton of money. You can pretty quickly move into, better content writing jobs that are a little bit more interesting and they pay a little bit better. But, when you're talking about like brick paving and limousines and things like that, you kind of do the research in, an hour or two, you understand it. And then when you've got, recurring amount of articles that are about the same topic, it does get a lot quicker, which obviously works for you. So, that's why I love this concept of a bridge business. You get to the point where you find those clients, you get regular work, and then all of a sudden you're making, $1,000 or $2,000 a month. You can pay most of your bills. And then that gives you the freedom to say, okay, well, now that I've paying my bills, I don't necessarily have to have a day job. Like, what do I want to do next? And I think that's kind of a cool thing that, this type of business can open up. So you talked a little bit about the community. Was there anything else specifically? It sounds like actually you found some of your first work from one of our members. Was that
Yeah.
true?
Yeah, actually a couple of them. They kind of, like you said, they had those batches that I kind of just took those on every month. A couple of people helped me find more, a little bit more interesting things that paid a little bit better.
Yeah.
People were really great to me in there. So that really drew me to your community. And also, one of the things that I thought was very interesting about how you have your site set up is it's a one-time fee.
Yep.
A lot of sites, I mean, they charge you every single month. So it's obvious that they're in it more to, charge people who may forget they have the subscription or something like that. And I saw very clearly that you were not, you had no interest in doing that. You had a more of a genuine interest to help people.
Yeah.
So that really drew me to your community as well.
Well, and that's one of the things that I go back and forth on this a lot, but one of the big things that I keep coming back to is that I know that there's, it's not super expensive, but it's also not cheap by any means. I want it to be, you pay it and then you can move on and really focus on, the business side of things. So that's awesome to hear. From there, you started, you kind of got to the point where you've got now your bridge, you're making a little bit of money. How did you start getting into the Amazon stuff? And, what were kind of the next steps once you kind of said, okay, I've got this freelance writing thing down. I'm trying to figure out what the longer term play is going to be. Where did you go from there?
Sure. Yeah. So for me, it wasn't really as much about the money as it was kind of about the confidence that it was possible to make money online.
Totally.
And I have a more of a traditional business education. I went to, like I said, I studied accounting in college. So I kind of was looking at all different sorts of things. And I had an interest in e-commerce. A lot of the experience that I had, I mean, I was working a full-time job at this time too. A lot of the experience I had was in inventory-based businesses.
Yeah.
From an accounting side of things. So I had actually started a small dropshipping store that did not work out very well.
We all have that. We all have that story. Random thing we started early on that just didn't work out.
Yeah. So kind of played around with a few things like that, and I'm a big fan of the Tropical MBA. And through them, I got introduced to Taylor Pearson.
Yep.
Who has a website, getapprenticeship.com. And I'd kind of been on the his mailing list for several months, and kind of saw stuff just that didn't really interest me. And then I found something that was really interesting to me, and it was about an e-commerce based business, inventory business. So I thought, this is right up my alley. So I applied to that. And to be honest, I had met with the owner, and everything seemed great. I had to take a pretty big pay cut. But Location Rebel kind of gave me the confidence that, hey, even if this doesn't work out, or even if it does, and I need to make some money on the side, I can always just use the skills that I learned in Location Rebel, and really make it work. And now fast forward a year down the road, and things have gone really well. We've grown the business significantly, and now I've taken on more of the operational responsibility.
Yeah.
And it's been really fun. But I mean, it all kind of started with writing articles about limousines for $5 a pop. So
It's crazy, and it's amazing how much that confidence means. It's like
yeah,
okay, I know I can make money. I know I've got the skills to do this. Now I can go, maybe take a couple risks or try something that may or may not work out because you do have that fallback plan.
yeah, exactly.
Were there any specific skills that jump out that you learned that were helpful as you were, figuring out, how to get into the Amazon stuff or the drop shipping stuff or whatever? Is there anything you can point to that was like, oh yeah, this was something that's been really valuable?
Probably persistence. I remember when I was first looking for clients, I would send out like these huge emails that probably just came across as spam. But I mean, if you send enough of them, and then you start to have some good conversations with people. And it's kind of been the same thing that I've learned in the business I'm in now and kind of other things. I would say the lack of persistence was probably the reason my dropshipping store didn't work out.
Totally.
But I mean, as I've gone through my daily life now and different business ventures, I think the persistence that kind of I was able to push through a little bit in Location Rebel really helped.
Yeah, I probably the piece of advice I give the most when it comes to Location Rebel is consistency is everything. It's easy to get excited about something. You get started for the first week or two, you hit a road bump, and then you're like, I don't know what to do, so I'm not gonna, work on it this day. And then that snowballs, and eventually you're kind of back to your day job. But if you can be persistent, if you be consistent in whatever you're doing, even it's better to be consistent going on what might not be the best path than to just not do anything at all, because at least you're figuring out the things that don't work. And then as in doing that, you figure out the things that do work, and it can lead to a successful business.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
So with all that said, for the person that's watching this, they're maybe sitting on the fence. They're like, I want to create a bridge business. I'm thinking about maybe joining Location Rebel. What advice would you give to them?
I would say join. I mean, it worked great for me. Everyone there has been super helpful to me. I think there's a lot of different paths you can take depending on your skill set and what you're interested in. And once you get started, I mean, like I said, the first article that I wrote, I think I made like $4 or $5. Took me a whole hour. But don't let that discourage you, because 6 months down the road from there, I was cranking out 4 or 5 articles an hour, making what would be about $50, $60 an hour. So I mean, you kind of have to start somewhere. So I would say just get started.
Totally.
And you've obviously been great. I mean, we've traded emails before, even I think when I was on the fence myself. So yeah, I mean, I couldn't recommend it more. It was a great program for me to get started with, and I think it's probably a great program for anyone, no matter what their interests are.
Dude, that's awesome to hear. And it's been cool to get back in touch a little bit and hear about the success you've been having, since then. It's always great to see some of those success stories. And it's like, I very much tell people, Location Rebel, it's not necessarily the be all end all. It's like, get to the point where you're making $3 to $5 grand a month, and then you're figuring out what's next. And so whenever the people come back a year or two later and they're like, yeah, this was great, and now I'm doing something that I'm really excited about and making more money. And I mean, that's all the stuff that really gets me excited, and it's kind of a reminder of why we do what we're doing here at Location Rebel. So I'm just want to say thank you for taking the time to come back, tell your story a little bit, and getting back in touch.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me.
So, all right, guys, if you're interested in Location Rebel, locationrebel.com/join, or feel free to always send me an email, Sean@locationrebel.com. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you have to help you figure out if it's a good fit or not. And with that, we'll see you on the next case study.